Ladies, I wanted to tell you guys my labor and delivery story. So, I know this is a really sought after video. I researched like crazy about it and I just wanted to know everything I could, so I figured I'd let you guys know what happened with me. This is my daughter Zoe. She was born on January 24th, 2015. And for 3 weeks, I was pretty much in early labor, and it stayed like that for quite a while. On the 23rd, I went in for my 40-week appointment to the doctor, and they told me pretty much, everything that was good, and asked me about induction and everything like that. I told them that I wanted to get induced if I could because I was worried about meconium. I knew the risks of meconium. I knew that if the baby stayed in there too long, I just was worried. So they scheduled me that night. My appointment was probably at like 2, and they scheduled me at 6 to go in for my induction that night. So about an hour or so after my appointment, we found out that a friend of ours had died. And so I was contemplating on whether or not I wanted to put off my induction. But they ended up calling me at about 4 and letting me know that they were too booked and that I could come in the next day at 3, and then they would be able to start my induction that day. So while we were out at a friend's house, I was having contractions, but it was nothing severe. It was nothing too, together. And then at about 11, 11:30, I went into the bathtub because I heard that if you went into the bathtub, your water could break when you relax, which, I mean, honestly, we try everything we can possibly try, most women, as soon as they can to induce labor because we're just sick of being pregnant at that point. So I tried everything, and I laughed at this one, but I hadn't taken a bath in a while, so I figured I'd try it. What did I have to lose? And sure enough, 5 minutes into my bath, my water did break, and green liquid had come out. So I assumed that it was meconium in the fluid. And when I finally, when I pushed again and confirmed that it was my water, I went in and told my husband, who had just taken the Benadryl because he expected for me to go into labor that next day, being induced, not to go in labor naturally that night. So we got everything together, and I called the doctor, and they said, to just wait. I was at 3 centimeters, so they would be able to admit me if I needed to be admitted. And but I told them I wanted to wait until my contractions hit. And my contractions at the beginning of labor was unbearable for me. It was very, very hard to breathe through it. My contractions were on top of each other. They were like a minute apart, lasting a minute, a minute apart, lasting a minute. And that was like that for the first 7 hours of my labor. So, and about 45 minutes into my contractions, I called my doctor back and told her I wanted to go to the hospital because I knew I wanted to get the epidural, and I didn't know how long it would take for me to get the epidural. And I wasn't one of those people who were like, yes, I'm going to get the epidural. I was like, well, I'm going to try it and see, and if I can't handle it, then I'll get it, and if I can handle it, then I won't. It's just pretty much how my thinking was. Well, I knew at that point I couldn't handle it. And, I mean, I could have if I tried, but let's just face it, I didn't want to. I didn't want to be in that much pain if I didn't have to be. And so I got there and we got admitted, and it took forever to get admitted because for some reason my hospital needed to admit me as a water breaking rather than me just being in labor, even though they could count my contractions and knew that I was in active labor. I had hit 4 centimeters by that point and told them immediately that I wanted an epidural. But the water kept coming back as a negative water breaking, even though they knew it was, because there was that much meconium in the fluid, which is why I'm glad that I was worried about meconium, because if I wouldn't have gotten induced, and if I would have waited a week or so, then it could have been worse health-wise for her. And I know that being induced isn't the best thing. Like, I know that, like, I should let her go naturally, but I had a friend who had earlier in that month had a daughter, and it was very serious when she had swallowed meconium. So, finally it came back positive. Finally I got admitted. I probably went in at 12, almost 1, and I didn't get admitted until probably 4. And then I pretty much just sat in my room and breathed and screamed through my contractions until the guy came for the anesthesiologist for him to come and do my epidural. And I didn't want anybody in the room because it was just like I mean at one point the nurses came and screamed because I was screaming, thinking that I was crowning, and I wasn't crowning. I was 5 centimeters dilated and just overreacting. Well, in their opinion, I was overreacting. It was just, I'm one of those people who express my pain. I can't, like, hold it in. I tried to hold in a contraction. It was the worst minute of my life. So, finally the guy came in, and it was like, I'm thinking probably closer to 5 or 6 when, I think it was closer to 6 when he finally came in. I guess that there was, like, 7 other girls ahead of me. Like, it was just, like, a crazy busy night. That was the reason why they couldn't get me in today. So, like, or that day. So, he came in, he did great. It hurt, like, I felt the bee sting of the epidural, but it was nothing compared to what I had been experiencing, so it wasn't, like, that big of a deal to me. And, after that, it was great. I did fine. I let guests come back, and then at about 10, I was starting to feel super nauseous, and I was getting sick, and I could feel pain in one of my hips. And I asked them if I could get like another dose because I was starting to feel quite a bit of pain. And they said that they had to check me first because sometimes when you're close to 10 centimeters dilated, they will you'll get that pain back. So I got checked, and I was 9 centimeters, like 9.5. So, but because I kept getting sick, they had to give me like a medication to stop the nausea, which they told me would make me sleepy. So I don't know why at almost 10 centimeters dilated, they gave me something that would induce sleep. So like when it was time to push, I was like half asleep during each like push. So I pushed her out in about an hour and a half. And after that, they took her, like, they didn't let my husband cut the cord. They pretty much cut the cord for us and immediately took her over to make sure that there was no meconium in her system, because she was pretty much black when she came out, because it was so, she'd pooped like 3 times, the doctor said, in there, like, if they had a guess. So, like, after that, everything was fine. I didn't tear at all. Miraculously, I didn't tear, because to get her head out, they had to, like, push on my stomach, like, on the side, on my rib, and actually ended up bruising my rib. So, I'm glad from that pop, I didn't tear, because, you know, I had a way easier recovery without tearing. And, after that, I mean, they took out the epidural. They told me I had to go to the bathroom at some point within the next, like, hour or so. And pretty much 2 hours after I delivered her, I was ready to go home. But, I mean, after that, it was great. I went home. I felt great. I had like, a couple hemorrhoids, and that was, like, my only issue, and it went away. Like, everything was fine. I was a little sore, but other than that, like, overall, looking back, I had a pretty great labor and delivery. I had a great, recovery, and, like, I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything better. Now I have her. Miss Tired Thing. So, yeah, that is my labor and delivery story. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.